up on Sunday or on vacation, that it's because we were always here that we know what the instruments say, and we know where to read them and how to. 2 weeks ago, we started an enhanced offertory campaign. I'm supposed to speak this weekend about It's My Turn. I must confess, I don't know how good I'll do, except to say what I just said. This place is important. My dear sisters and brothers, I do love you very, very much. But I can boil down the reason we get together for one reason. We are here to meet Jesus Christ. That's the only reason. You want to meet people? Join the Kiwanis, the JCs, become a Lion, enter 4-H or the Boy Scouts. That's all very wonderful and well and good. You want to learn how to be nice? Read Miss Manners. That's not what the gospel's about. But how to live forever and to believe that life has value and meaning, that we're going to be a people no matter what that is cherished by God. Well, you have to meet the Lord and be in relationship with Him. It was not my theology that allows me to look at my dear friend and cousin passing away from us to say, I still will believe. It is the absolute faith that I have a friend in Jesus Christ who has never let me down. And even though I may not completely understand all the ramifications of death in my life and in the world, and even indeed my own death, I trust Him because He's never abandoned me. And I met Him in church. We exist to meet Him. And He told us where 2 or 3 are gathered, that's where you'll find Him. He gave us the roadmap. Our parish exists for that. That's why we have ministries. That's why we meet. That's why we have blades. That's why we build buildings. That's why we light the lights. That's why we invite the community in. That's why we have RCIA. That's why we hire staff. That's why we construct our future around the promise of asking other people to join. To gather 2 and 3 and more. It is who we are. And frankly, we have done what the Lord has asked us to do. We have met Him, and we continue to. But we cannot continue in the way that we have. In our parish, there are people who give nothing to our parish's support. You might find priests who say that's all right if you can't afford it. I'm not one of them. Everybody can give something. I don't care what it is. If this is important, you give something. Listen to our gospel today. This place is important. We are sheep without a shepherd, without Him. But He asked one little boy to give what he had. It wasn't much in the face of all of the great need. And what we offer is not much in the face of a culture of death and a society hell-bent on passing relationships. But it's all the Lord needs if we give it willingly, as that young lad did. He had no idea that he'd get his lunch back. But he got 12 baskets of fragments left over. Today I ask the same. If you give nothing, give something. Go before the Lord and give what you can. He will return it, He promised. It's His in the first place. If you give something, you've been one of the generous ones. I need to ask you to consider to give more. It's in your heart to give. The Lord speaks to you again. I need it. We need it. This place needs it. Because we're growing. Normally, a place grows slowly and you save up to build the buildings and expand the spaces so that people can meet, so that 3 and more can gather, so that the ministries can happen, so that the volunteers can be accommodated, so the staff can be paid, so the lights can go on. And you know what I'm saying. We're growing faster than that. It's not simply a game of catch-up. There are folks here who pay whenever they are here, and that's what they do. They pay. When they're not here, nothing happens. It's like they're kind of saying, well, I put in my dole for the Mass I attended. I don't want that. Neither does our Lord. I'm a good pastor. Whether you think I am or not, I'm what you got. I've had you for 4 years and you for me. God willing, for at least another 2 and maybe more than that. It's my hope and desire to be here for a lot longer than that. As God wills it, the bishop allows it. But I'm a good pastor for a lot of reasons. First, because I love the people I serve and I love being a priest. But second, because I have a knack to be able to look into the future and see where we need to go. I sometimes see things that aren't apparent to anyone else, so it's a hard sell. I see ways of moving that take a long time. You have to hold your breath. I'm willing to take risks to make us as strong as possible. One day, this community is going to have to build a building out on that ground that will house 2,000 people. Before we get there, maybe many years hence that we get there, we've got minor chapels to build, meeting halls to build, programs to erect, ministries to start. Right now, we make enough to meet our bills. Thanks. But when we have a bump in the summer, frankly, we don't meet them. We hold our breath, we pop tongues, we wait for the fall to begin to pick up. We can't do that. It's not seen. We're bigger and better than that. I know where we're going. We're going into the future growing in faith. I know where we've been, on a firm foundation, built by good people and a wonderful founding pastor. We've got a lot to do. The Lord's beginning with us. It's only beginning. Read the handwriting on the wall. See the numbers that are coming. Hear the people who talk about us. And understand God makes no mistakes. One day, the clouds of death, or depression, or hurt will swirl around us all. Every single person in this room will face what Tracy faced on Thursday. All of us. Every one of us. And we will either face it as she did, with a faith that turns to the light that radiates from the same face of the Son of God, or we will wander about in the darkness of our fears and wonder. We're learning to fly by instruments. By bread that is broken that tells us that it means we're brought together. By blood that is poured out that tells us it's fair to shed our own for the sake of others. By a little boy who gives his lunch so that many will be fed, so that we will understand that no one is impoverished by giving to the gospel, only enriched. It isn't what the world's going to tell us, but I have long grown tired of what the world says. Our little ones have not. It still seems fresh and new to them. We must be around to protect them from wolves in sheep's clothing. In a few moments, I'm going to ask our greeters to bring forth a commitment card. We need our offertory to go up. It's not about money, I said, it's about giving. It's about being that little boy. It's about saying how important it is. But it's also about my ability to take a look at the future and say, all right, what are we going to do? I'm willing to lead, but I can't unless you're willing to come. I really don't want to, frankly, if you won't come. You've been chosen. It's not my choice. It's the Lord's. To do a work, and He'll give us the wherewithal to do it. If we all give consistently, and give from our heart what we have that is His in the first place. 12 baskets left over. That's what He promises. God is abundant in His return. What you pledge today to give over the course of the year, just give. You give nothing, give something. You give something, give a little bit more.